Hey everybody, Louisa here. Today I want to talk about something that I think relates to pretty much everyone, and that is the addiction to technology. Now, I'm going to preface this. Technology is fantastic. We need it. Part of our culture, really important for our evolution. We can connect to people all over the world. We have access to so much information. It's a wonderful, wonderful time to be living in. But where's the balance? Where's the control? Are you on autopilot? Are you constantly reaching for your phone in every situation? There's this constant flooding of stimulation that we feel we need to have. We need to be stimulated all the time. Information, information, information. We're losing our ability to be still, to pause, to reflect. I think it's safe to say that we have an addiction to technology. I think we can all relate to the fact that it's really uncomfortable to go anywhere, be anywhere without a cell phone. It is something we rely on. It is something that is somewhat of a crutch. Whether you are checking emails, responding to texts, going on social media, just searching the internet, we're always constantly on our phones. So I like to combine the introspection and contemplative practices of Eastern philosophies with the modern world. Like, how can they coalesce? How can they come together? And it's simple. It's just being aware of our actions, how we operate, how we think, and how we feel, and what our behaviors are. Awareness is mindfulness. I think it's worthwhile to take a look at how we can approach technology mindfully, how we can actually pay attention to our cell phone usage, to how often we are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So I want to offer some practical ways to be mindful with your cell phones, to be mindful with technology. Take some of these things into consideration. Scenario number one, you are somewhere out with your friends at home, the phone rings and you race to answer it. What would it feel like to actually pause and not answer the phone right away? For most of us, that's an uncomfortable feeling. Whether it's a text or a phone call, we feel we need to respond right away. So, one exercise that you can do is mindfully pause before reaching for your phone. Your phone rings, you hear a ding of the text, you get an email, and you take a pause, take 3 breaths, and then look at your phone. It's that knee-jerk reaction to go for it, to go for your phone, to see who it is, to see what the text message says. And that's something that I think would benefit if we created a little bit of pause from that initial gut reaction of, my phone is making a sound, I gotta go check who it is. One strategy that I actually use pretty frequently, and something that makes sense to me, is creating scheduled times in which I'm gonna check email. I do kind of filter through quite a few emails throughout the day, personal emails, work-related emails, and sometimes it can get a little bit much. You can get inundated. So having scheduled times in which you're checking emails can be really important. So you may want to give yourself a few times throughout the day to check emails, maybe morning, afternoon, and night. You may want to schedule an exact hour in which you check emails. The third thing that I want to bring up is social media. I love using it to connect with everyone that follows me through Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. For me, it's a vehicle in which I can spread my message and hopefully inspire and motivate as many people as possible. But because I am a human, like everybody, I can get really sucked into the superficialities of that medium. Sometimes that can trigger undesirable feelings, maybe anxiety, stress, feelings of competition. One thing that I really stress is paying attention to how you feel when you are navigating through social media. What feelings come up for you when you're scrolling through an Instagram feed, when you're looking at different people's profiles on Facebook? Is there a feeling of jealousy, envy, inadequacy? Is there feelings of judgment? Pay attention to that. We get so sucked into social media that we're not even paying attention to what social media does to us on an emotional and psychological level. What is your motivation to be on social media? Is it because you want to connect with people, you want to be inspired, you want to be motivated, you want to laugh, you want to see some crazy shit? If there is a purpose, then do it mindfully. If there's no purpose and you're just wasting time, you may want to reconsider. I'm a huge advocate of taking a social media detox, of completely turning off all social media outlets for a week. I've done this several times in the past. I like to do this a few times a year for sure, and I think it is such a wonderful break from the chaos. And what you can do as a substitute is use apps that are educational. Expand your knowledge. There's tons of apps that can stimulate the mind in a different way. One of the apps that I love to use is called Flipboard, and they have all sorts of different subjects and categories, from science to health and wellness to mindfulness. It's so educational, so I really recommend that. The next suggestion I have may be very difficult for a lot of you to do, but again, if you're looking to change your technology habits, you may want to consider this. Turn off your technology. Simple, right? Easier said than done. Having a few times throughout the day where you can turn off your phone or put it in airplane mode or whatever it is, I think that can be really useful. You're taking control back to how often you're using your phone, and it's not controlling you. The last mindful attitude to have towards technology is noticing your need for it. Noticing how often you reach for your phone when you're bored, when you feel like you need to be stimulated, at a red light, in a long lineup, in the bathroom, waiting for an elevator. Whenever there's a moment of stillness and pause, are you reaching for that phone? Do you feel that need that you have to be entertained or stimulated in some way? What would happen if you just had a moment of silence? What would happen if you just started to observe your surroundings? It is so automatic, it is so knee-jerk that we don't really notice how often we're picking up our phone. If you begin with just the idea of noticing each and every time I reach for my phone, what's the context? What's the reason? Why do I need to have my phone? You're gonna have more control over the behavior. I believe that awareness leads to self-empowerment. The more aware we are of our bodies, our minds, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, the more mindful we are, the more control we have over our life. I think that's pretty empowering. That empowerment releases the autopilot, releases the tendency for us to do things because it's a habitual way of doing it. What is the reason why you're doing this? What is the reason why you're reaching for your phone? You're going on Instagram, you're constantly checking emails. Is there something deeper going on? Maybe feelings of loneliness or boredom or inadequacy or whatever. The more you realize your motivation, the more you can get to the root of why you're doing it. A simple pause and reflection in your actions can really make a difference.